Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. Now, before we get into it, I'd just like to inform you about a new website selling quality current and retro Spurs jerseys, okjersey.com. They sell all current and retro Tottenham Hotspur shirts in all sizes. They sell the current fan and player versions, as well as the 80s and 90s retro shirts, including my very favourite, the 1991 FA Cup final shirt. You can order very easily from okjersey.com, and if you use the code Chris, you will receive an 8% discount off your final order. You can also use the QR code on the top left of your screen. And by the way, they also have some training wear here and the 25-26 colour special edition jersey.
I'm lost for words. I am sick and tired of coming on here talking about defeats. Perhaps it's just me. I don't know. Perhaps I'm a curse. Perhaps I should give it up. Welcome back to the Spurs Chat Podcast. Another edition where we're going to be talking about, sadly, another defeat. 5-2, of course, tonight at the hands of Atlético Madrid. We're live on YouTube, X and Facebook, so please do get involved. Let us know how you're feeling as a Tottenham Hotspur fan right now. God, another defeat, honestly. Where do you start? Let's start with the match facts and stats. Atletico just over 58% possessions to Tottenham's nearly 42. An XG of Atletico 3.12, XG for Spurs 1.41. 11 shots for the home side, 11 for Spurs. 7 on target for Atletico, 5 for Tottenham. Touches inside the opposition box, Atletico had 23, Spurs had 17. Goalkeeper saves 3 for Atletico, 3 for Spurs. Aerial duels 1, Atletico won 14, Spurs only won 1. Fouls committed 15 for Atletico, 12 for Spurs, and 4 corners for the home side and 2 for Tottenham. Wow. I'm not sure how we're going to pick the bones out of that. But we're going to try. We're going to try our very best. Ricky, how are you? And what are your thoughts on that absolute unbelievable? I haven't even got words to describe that game. Fill in my words for me, Ricky.
Do you know what, mate? I don't know, because I'm with you. Because do you know what? It's like, this is why I'm in delirium right now. This is why I'm actually like laughing, because it, like, I don't know, like, what are we supposed to say about that? Like, what are you supposed to do about that? Like, do you know what? I was actually, when I saw the lineup, I was actually excited. I was excited for Kinski to get a start. You know, I was like, you know what? With you know, him being good with his feet, you know, him in the Champions League game, maybe he have a good game, and then maybe he can kick on from here and, you know, start building up a little momentum himself. But wow, slip and sliding. The whole game was slip and sliding, man. At about 70 minutes, they counted like 10 to 12 slips or something like that, man. That had happened all over the pitch. And it was just that those first 15 minutes, you know, for the first 4 minutes, gents, I was actually enjoying it. I was like, you know what? Majority of players in it are in their right spot. You could
4
argue,
minutes.
yeah, for 4 minutes, bro. This is how long it lasted. You know, people were in the right positions. You was going, Archie Gray and Sarr, arguably they've earned their spot in this Champions League team. You kind of go, all right, and fine. Richie's up there, Colo's up there. You're going, Tell started. You're going, all right, and okay, cool. Well, let's see. And for 4 minutes, it was good. And then, like, Spence got a yellow card on 4 minutes. And then from then, it just started to go a little bit downhill. And then, wow, they say it can't get any worse. Like, wow, man, like, wow.
Oh, it can.
I didn't know how worse it could get, man, because those first 3 goals were horrendous. Slips galore, mistakes galore. Poor Kinski getting taken off as well. I mean, he had to get taken off, but at the same time, there's big focus on Tudor tonight. You know, it was a bold decision to put him in. And one, he's taken off at 16 minutes. All right, take him out the firing line. Maybe get somebody, get your number 1 back in there. But he didn't acknowledge him at all, you know. And there seems to be a little subplot going on between Tudor and the boys right now. I don't know whether you gents heard that on commentary, but but yeah, it was we go to 3 goals down, and in the fourth one, it wasn't a free kick to begin with. There was one quick replay of whoever it was diving, and they bought the free kick. Nobody touched him. He dove. Yeah. And so it shouldn't have been a free kick in the first place. But of course, we only get to see one quick snippet of a replay from that, and never spoken about throughout the rest of the game. And then they score from that fourth one, and you're just going, I don't know what's going on anymore. Like, I went to the, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. There was a bit of fight back in there. They carried on going. They carried on pushing. At least we got those 2 goals back. We did have some chances, Really unfortunate from Richie's chance there to make it 5-3, 4-3, or whatever it was, and then for them to counter on us and go and get the 5th. Really unlucky, but it's where we are right now. It's a sham of a mockery of a mockery of a sham. I don't know what to say about Tudor right now. I don't like a back 3. Never liked a back 3. I don't think this back 3 is working for us either. Not in a defensive sense, not in an attacking sense. I don't know what we do next, Craig. It was just one of those games where you just go, only Tottenham. Tottenham is a really special club. The only other time that I felt like that is that Inter Milan game where we went 2-3-0 down. And then what was it? Gomez got sent off. I think it was like we might have had 2 men sent off. I can't remember, but it was just a pure collapse. And it just felt like that at that point. And you just
Bayern was a bit like that.
Oh, mate. So, yeah, I'm a bit all over the place. I don't know what to say about that game. I want to hear your gents and the viewers around the world. I want to hear your opinions and how you feel about it, because I don't know. I know I've spoken for 5 minutes, but I still don't know.
I think this sums it up. We had our pants pulled down in front of the world today.
No. We didn't have our pants pulled down. We pulled down our pants. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody had to pull them down. We done it ourselves.
Well, talking about men who pull their pants down. Let's leave going. Let's come to Melvyn next. Melvyn, what's your?
I'll rip mine off.
Melvyn,
anyway.
what's your thoughts on the game?
Easy.
It's Champions League nights. It shows your biggest weakness and your biggest flaws, and ours, we're full in display in 14 minutes. It's Champions League. It's round of 16. You start to play high-level opposition, high-level managers with really good players, and at the moment, we're playing under a new manager, under a new philosophy, under a new formation, and he decides to play Kinski, which would be his second game in about 7 months, which is madness. I don't know what was the reasoning behind that. I would love to know, to be honest. I would love, for us to hear in the press conference for him to say Vicario had a knock, or he wasn't feeling well, or I wasn't feeling well, something crazy, because for me, it's madness to do something like that. It's absolutely insane. It doesn't make sense to put him out like that. Honestly, it's like, might as well, Craig, it's like saying you play up front for us at Anfield. Because it's been that long for Kinski to play. Seriously, yeah. It's like it's crazy. Why would he play him? It made no sense. Why would you put a goalkeeper like that? I understand in the League Cup to play him.
It's a pressure cooker tonight, wasn't it? Yeah, I feel for him.
But it's not like that. It's absolutely madness for me. But anyway, let's go past us conceding 3 goals in the first 14 minutes. And then you start to think, today I was thinking before the game, what do I want out of today? I wanted us to still be in the tie heading into the second fixture. That's gone. I think it exposed a lot of players to be overrated. For example, I think Van de Ven is we're starting to see, I think he's either overrated or the system doesn't suit him, the back three. I don't know. Just he keeps slipping and falling and being caught out of position, and we don't know how to press as a team either. We don't know how to press. We don't know how to win the ball back. We don't know how to keep the ball. Honestly, it's just the Champions League shows you your deepest flaws, and when you play these type of games, it's just it is embarrassing. Honestly, the level at Spurs has fallen so much, and it's I guess you have to laugh. You have to have a sense of humor, and I love that I'm doing this with all three of you, by the way, because I've missed you guys. And it's been a long season, and I needed to hear Ricky's voice. I needed to hear Gary, and I need to, I messaged Chris and I said to him, listen, I need to be back on the podcast because I just missed the guys, and I'm happy that all three of you are here. That's the only positivity of today. It's just I get to speak to all three of you. Honestly, that's the only positive thing. Not even us.
I did, from the front room to the kitchen. I nearly slipped though. It was close. Just managed to stay on my feet. Craig, that's why you put your back out. So
do you know what? Do you know what was a positive that came out tonight? We didn't concede as many in so fast a time as we did at Newcastle the other season. So there's a positive. So that's a positive.
League final.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But there was a little bit of there was a response from him, but this kind of side story now that has started happening now. We had subs and not one of the players were acknowledged by the manager as they came off, in eye contact or in anything else, not spoken to, not touched, not nothing. And I don't know whether you've heard this on comms, but when Spence came off, he came off, didn't get no acknowledgement, went to go and sit down and then got back up, tapped Tudor on the shoulder, shook his hand, and then the commentator's narrative. Now, of course, it's an opinion and it's a narrative, so we'll take it with a pinch of salt. But he was like, well, maybe Spencer's making a point there that this is what you do. This is how you treat your players. You know what I mean?
I think he was. I do think genuinely.
Do you think so?
That's what Jed. I genuinely think that's Spence. Yeah, and that speaks volumes, doesn't it? If the players are doing that if that's the case, we must stress if that's the case. That's how allegedly.
He's like,
allegedly. Gary, what do you make of that tonight? Oh, well, by the way, this is the first time that Spurs have lost 6 consecutive matches in all competitions for the first time in the club's history.
Yeah, I mean, and we deserve to. I mean, it was just comedy gold tonight, mate. Honestly, from like Ricky said, the first little 3 or 4 minutes, okay, you're thinking we haven't started too bad, and then we're just falling all over the place. We're slipping and sliding. I think it was up to 20 slips, but I know a couple of the Atlético Madrid players slipped over and stuff. But I mean, it's just comical. I was just looking at it for the most part and just laughing. I was getting messages. Look, we're all getting messages at the moment, right? Because we're Tottenham fans, we're getting relegated, and we are the laughing stock of the league, the worst team in it. So obviously, to put a performance like that in the Champions League to a very average Atlético Madrid side as well, let's be honest, they're not even good. A half-decent team who could have stayed on their feet probably would have scored a few more goals against them because they weren't great. But we're just an absolute laughing stock, mate. It's just comical to watch. I don't really have much sympathy for Kingsley. I know the narrative is people are feeling sorry for him and all that, but I can't really feel sorry for any of the players or any of the stuff they do on that pitch. I think the sympathy side of it for me is just gone. I just think they're just a shambles and they're actually an embarrassment. And the only real people I feel sorry for are the fans that have travelled out there and spent the best part of £1,000 on travel, the tickets, accommodation. I don't feel sorry for Kingsley. I don't feel sorry for any of them. Van der Ven should have got a red. He was exactly like what he was in the last game. And, you're talking about players that are on between £50,000 and £200,000 a week. So maybe it is the end of his career. Maybe he shouldn't have started him, but I don't really care. I just think you've trained on that pitch before the game kicked off. You've seen what the pitch is like. If there's an issue with the pitch, then bring it up or say something. I don't understand how players are Premier League players. They're playing in the Champions League and they're falling all over the place. Kingsley, his confidence is low. Just kick the ball out, mate. I'm sorry. these sort of mistakes is what's going to get us relegated anyway. And that's why we're going. And to be honest, they're not even a good side, Atletico Madrid. I'm watching that game thinking, if we could get another goal, we're probably beating them at our ground. But then I remembered how bad our home form is, right? But in the Champions League, we've actually been quite good. And we've lost 5-3 to a team that's... Was it 5-3 in the end? Or 5-2?
5-2.
5-2, yeah. I was hoping for that third we didn't get. But we were just an embarrassment. And, you know, not the fans, but the players, the board and the team, they deserve this, you know. They deserve what happened tonight and they deserve for us to get relegated. And unfortunately, this, you know, we could talk about this all night on every single podcast, but you brought Thomas Frank in, you kept him for too long, you brought Tudor in. They're all just massive, massive mistakes. And I think at this point now, when I'm getting inundated with messages that I'm just laughing, saying, yeah, this is Tottenham. It will get worse. You know, we've got Anfield next, and it will be worse at Anfield.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm not even angry anymore, you know. And I just really, you know, a lot of stuff on social media, like feeling sorry for Kinski. I get it. I understand the sympathy in that. But my first thought was all them fans. I just felt so bad for them because they're not got the luxury of getting paid $100,000 a week. You know, so God, poor old Chris.
Yeah. Chris had really good. He had a really good seat tonight, actually, right behind the dugout.
Jesus
so he probably could have got a place on the bench, to be honest with you. Just sticking with Tudor there. Come around to you, Rick, before we get into the match incidents. Where does the club go now? Because as Gary said there, they stuck with Frank. You know, we knew it was probably going to be. We knew he should have gone before Christmas, and I still maintain that Daniel Levy would have got rid after that first North London derby and wouldn't have let it dragged on, but they did. So Frank was the wrong appointment. I think most people feel now that Tudor is the wrong appointment. Admittedly, the players haven't played as well as they should be, but I don't think he's getting the best out of the players. Where do we go from here? Does Tudor keep his job? Do they stick with him, or do they again go into the market and try and get another interim?
Do you know what, Craig? It's really tough, right? Because we're in this position, and like you said there, we should have got rid of Frank a long time ago. At least the latest before the window opened, right? So that you gave any new manager coming in, interim or not, an opportunity to bring somebody in and to help the side. They didn't do that. They didn't do none of that. If anything, we weakened ourselves during that January window rather than strengthening. You know, we brought in Gallagher, but that was the Johnson money. And look, we've been screaming for a right winger for I don't know how long. But anyway. So there has been a ton of ineptitude. There's been a ton of inaction that has happened from this board. My negative or my glass half empty side says that will continue because that's what the pattern they've showed. They've shown that they'll stick to their bad decisions until it's way too late, until it's not really their fault. They had to make the choice rather than make a decision. So that's what that side of me says. The other side of me says Tudor, unfortunately, and now we had to get behind him. We had to because, you know, Frank was the biggest problem at the time. He had to get out the door. So whoever else came in, we had to get behind him. So, okay, cool. We've got the Croatian / Italian version of Sam Allardyce to come in who rescues teams and gets a response straight away. He has an unfortunate start against the Gooners, but then had to win against Fulham and Palace for me. Had to, if not get something out of it, but had to show me something. In those 3 games, I haven't seen much change. I've seen some effort at times. I've seen small glimpses of reactions, but I haven't seen much else. We still can't defend. I still don't like. I've never liked the back 3 for Tottenham. I know it works for other teams. Just me personally, it's always been something. It's been a niggle to me that the back 3 just doesn't work for us because we can't defend properly and we can't attack properly. And it's a system that if it goes badly, it goes really bad. Somehow there ends up being more gaps over the field. So, you know, you bring in this manager who Chris has said who's mentioned that stat that I think, I can't remember what it is, but out of every game that he's played, only 4 times has he ever played a back 4. Yeah, so we know he's a back 3 manager. So you bring him in, you look at the CV of him, you go, okay, cool. Now you're bringing in a manager who, we're talking about square pegs, round holes for a lot of the season, but he's a manager of a square peg and a round hole at this precise time. We've given him an opportunity, we've given him a chance now to but I haven't seen much change. And when you see the boys lose it with him tonight, you kind of go, what's going, in 3 games you've already lost them. The lineup against Palace I wasn't really happy with. There's been like some iffy decisions, but there hasn't been much momentum. Now again, beggars can't be choosers, right? So we've got him at the helm, but and I know you was the same, Craig, but for me, you need to get Tottenham people in there. For me, people will call it nostalgia. I call it people that know what the club's about, because nobody else does. So you need somebody in there that knows what the club's about, that knows what we stand for, that can inspire these boys. They haven't been inspired all season. They haven't had the first thing that Frank came out with and said is that we're going to lose matches. Nice one, boss. Wicked. Nice one. We all needed to know that. That all needed to be said and written down and put in the press. Yeah, that's a great point there, And then when Tudor's come in, yes, he's held a mirror up to him, but it also doesn't seem to have worked. That he's almost got to the point now where it seems that he's almost given up as well. Do you know what I mean? Or he's like, I'll only be here for a couple of months. Do you know what? Do what you want to do. That's the system. Do what you want to do. So it's got to the point where, for me, again, I go back to that Tottenham thing, is that if you're going to make a change, make it absolutely now and bring in some Tottenham people. I know Glenn has offered his services. I know Harry has. I know Jermaine. There's a lot of people out there that could do something. Do you know what I mean? You could get a crew together, but as long as it is Tottenham people, and now having another change in the season, especially at this stage, again, gamble. But we have nothing else to lose anymore. There's nothing else to lose. We're already losing. We already know what direction we're going in. Gaz has already said it. He knows where we're going next season. So what do you want to do? Do you want to have a go? Or do you just want to concede defeat and then we just go down sleepwalking in slow motion as we are right now?
Yeah.
The board have to make a decision. Do you know what I mean? Make it now if you're going to do it. Otherwise, like I said, that other side of me goes, they're just going to stick to it until it's way too late again, when it's more than obvious and when it should have been done ages ago. And then we're in the mire anyway, and then it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, I think I get why they wanted to stick with him, but they're not learning from their mistakes of the past. And I'd have more respect for the board if they come out and said, "Look, we made an error. We're going to bring in a Xuereb, a Redknapp, whoever it is." And Chris is just like Chris's last 2 tweets, in fact, just over the last half hour. Chris has come out and said, Igor Tudor needs to go. A disaster of an appointment. 4 games, 4 defeats, 14 goals conceded. We have got worse since Thomas Frank left. He doesn't acknowledge the players and hasn't ever acknowledged the fans. That's a very good point. He just shouts and he's rude to his staff, different formations and weird team selections. The guy is so out of his depth. We need to be saved and fast. Liverpool away up next. And the owners, the board, the manager, the players, all take a look at yourself. You can all improve this situation. Absolutely shameful. Absolutely agree with every single word Chris has said there. And there's, Match of the Day has tweeted fans saying Igor Tudor has to go tonight. The Spurs fans reacting to tonight's shambles, really.
How are you feeling, Craig? How are you feeling, bro?
Mate, I'm in the same boat. I hate to use the expression boat. What was that all about? People in
just
the boat,
get rid
out
of the damn boat. All right, can we go by plane?
What boat? What boat was that he was on tonight then? Was that a tugboat going down the Thames?
Was slipping and sliding off it. There was a lot of waves.
Perhaps they didn't have deck shoes on. Perhaps that's why they was all over the place. They had the wrong shoes on. Jesus
they all had
Christ.
a night out with Gary the night before. They was all oiled up. That's what it was, you know.
I reckon that's what it was.
Baby oil, that's what it was.
Look, we have to talk about the game. We can always come back to talk about you. I mean, who knows what you're going to say?
It's fun talking about the game, though, isn't it?
It's not, but we're kind of got to, because that's what we're here for.
I know.
Melvyn, the lineup. go through the lineup first. We had Kinski in goal. Danzo, Romero and Van der Ven, the three centre-backs. Porro, Gray, Sarr and Spence. Colomwani, Jesus. Richarlison and Tell. Substitutes, Brandon Austin, Dragusin, Gallagher, Olasesi, Paulinia, Rosewell, Simmons, Solanke and Vicario. What did you make of that, Melvyn?
Yeah, when I looked at the lineup, I was going through it, saying player by player, and I thought, okay, that makes sense. And then I noticed Kinski. I honestly went through the entire lineup, and then I noticed Kinski because I don't like to look at the Spurs website for the lineup because they do it weird. They do it by number, not by position.
Yeah.
So I tend to look at other websites for the lineup, so I get to see the formation. So I didn't even realize Kinski was there. And honestly, it's been the same story since the managers came in. It's always something that fucks up the game, either red card or a stupid decision. And today it was choosing Kinski over, Vicario. I think one key decision could have made. I don't know. Maybe we could have gotten a draw today, or maybe not conceded 5, maybe conceded 4. But the lineup lately, it kind of picks itself. The quality of the team isn't there. I don't really have even a player I can say he was the best player. It's just they were all pretty awful today. Maybe you could say Porro and Richarlison were okay. Tell and Colomani were disappointing. I expected more from Tell. I think Jet Spence has been having a really, really bad season. Ever since he got that England call, maybe it went to his head. He's not been the same player. He used to be, this thing online with Jet Spence locking down these wingers, and it just hasn't happened in a long time. The bench is terrible. You look at the bench and there's not many options, and you think, Xavi Simons, he hasn't been able to get him into the team. We spend money on him and he's experienced. And when's the last time Xavi scored or assisted a goal? Just this team doesn't know how to score, and I don't know. I just feel that the team doesn't realize the battle or the fight that we are in, and there isn't this. They still think they have this kind of mentality. I'm not gonna be here next season, or I'm gonna leave next season, so it's not a problem if we get relegated. But it's like they're not really fighting for the shirt, and it really hurts. There's a couple of players that are. I think Archie Gray is clearly fighting for the shirt. I think I saw a stat that he was one of the players that ran the most today, and it put, I think, nearly 13 kilometers in the game. He was the player to run the most. But if he can't carry the entire team, Archie Gray. I mean, it's just they need to do more, and they need to fight as a team. But it just seems that they don't know how to play together as a unit, and they don't understand the fight that they are in at the moment, and they need to dig deep. And we concede stupid goals. We keep doing it game after game after game. If it's individual error or it's just concentration or mentality. I agree with the manager when he said he was pointing out some flaws, but I think as a manager you can't do that publicly. I think I just don't understand where we go from here. It's just mistake after mistake because we're stuck with this manager now. And
I'm not so sure, Melvyn. I'm not so sure. I wouldn't be surprised.
Is that the right thing to do, Craig? Would you sack him before the end of the season?
After Anfield will be gone.
No, I'd sack him tomorrow, Melvyn.
I'll ask all three of you. Do you think we would get a bigger reaction if for example, you gave it to Harry Redknapp and Glenn Hoddle till the end of the season?
You would get a better reaction, but for me, he'll be sacked after we lose heavily at Anfield, but it's too late now. So we've left it too late. We made the mistake bringing him in, first keeping Thomas Frank too long, and then bringing him in, and that was the mistake we made. So regardless, after Anfield, he will be sacked, and we will bring in Sherwood Hoddle, but it's too late. So
is it too late to
we're
stay
championship
up?
team next season. That's it. And to be fair, we deserve to be. We're the worst team in the Premier League by a country mile. So we deserve to be in the championship. And let's face it, might be some better football.
Yeah. No, I think we'd be better at football under Sherwood, Redknapp, Hoddle, even for the end of the season. It might give us something to smile about. You never know. Gary, before we go into the match incidents, give me your brutal and totally honest, as I know you always do, thoughts on Vinay Venkatesham's performance this season and Johan Langer's performance.
Oh, fucking hell.
And
Give me the, if you was there,
no words beginning with C.
Yeah. Don't drop the C bomb. But
No,
I want. If you was their boss and you was giving them an absolutely honest year-end appraisal, what would you be saying?
comical. I mean, the fact that we've even got these two guys in the club is an absolute joke, and it just shows how ridiculous this club is run and how they've got away with it for so long. Arsenal, Villa. In there, haven't got a clue what they're doing, who they're appointing. Don't speak to the fans. Don't listen to the fans. Don't really have any knowledge when it comes to football. Full stop. It's a joke, and that's why I'm just laughing now. I'm laughing because when you think this is the team that got to a Champions League final in 2019, a team that won the Europa League in May, and yeah, we were shit in the league, but we were never going to get relegated. But the amount we've fallen and how low we've gone. And, and Melvin's right to say it, but we're saying things like, I was thinking it could have been 3 or 4-0. And I'm saying if we'd have got it back to 5-3, this is where we are. Like, this team is getting relegated and deserves to. We are the worst team in the Premier League. Now, you've got to blame them for that because they're involved in bringing in Thomas Frank and keeping him for as long as he did. Craig, you said, the Arsenal game, yes. Or it could have been the Fulham game. You could pick any game it could have been. Or it certainly should have been after West Ham, right? They kept him too long. You've made the mistake. We're in dire straits here. But get in Redknapp, get in Sherwood, Keane even, just something. Defoe, anyone that's linked to the club. They're offering themselves for free, for Christ's sake. Get them in, lift the stadium, lift the fans. And I'm almost certain we wouldn't be getting relegated. I think we would have just about survived with the nick of our team. We would have scored a few more goals. The players would have been a bit more up for it. But unfortunately, getting Tudor in is the last straw. By some sort of miracle, if we could have beaten Crystal Palace and convincingly, because it needed to be 3 or 4-0 convincingly, it was 50-50. But let me tell you, Craig, and I've said it for a very, very long time, this team is going down and is getting relegated. It will probably happen at Stamford Bridge, and we deserve it. Make no bones about that. We deserve it. Now, it's none of our faults. It's none of the guys' faults on the show tonight commenting in. Certainly not the fans' faults that have travelled over to Madrid and that. But we are down, mate, and we deserve to go down. And that's because we brought those two idiots in. And I'll keep it clean. But we only have ourselves to blame. We really, really do. And you know what? It sounds mad saying this, and I mean it in the right way, but we kind of deserve it, and I'm glad. Because this is what you get when you are negligent with this club for as long as they've been. So this is why it's going to happen. And when people were telling me 4, 5, 6 months ago, this team's too big to go down, we're too big to get relegated. No team is too big to go down and get relegated, man. Do you know what I mean? And let's face it, when you're doing business like we did in January, you're bringing in Conor Gallagher on $200,000 a week and a couple of kids.
Yeah.
We deserve it.
Shocking, mate. I just want to send out a note or a request for everybody in the chat, whether you're on Facebook, on X or YouTube, just over the next minute or so, just simply write if you think we're going down or staying up. So if you think we're going down, write down. And if you think we're staying up, write up or something like that. And I'll put as many on screen as we can. We'll see what people are thinking. Ricky, just quickly before we go on to the match incidents, anything to add on the running of this once great football club by these idiots that are in charge and basically ENIC? Because people are thinking that ENIC aren't going to sell if we're relegated because they're not going to get the money they want for it, which is just going to put us back at square one.
You know what, Craig? Over the years, right, you know, when they've done something wrong, I've said it. When they've done something right, I've tried to give them the credit for it. But you know what? All the fool guys have gone. Every excuse that they've ever had is gone. And they are left barefaced to us now. What ENIC is about and what their fundamentals is. It's been about a commodity. It's been, you know, the stadium wasn't to make Tottenham glorious again. It was to turn a bigger profit because they knew that they could. Now, when I heard that years ago, that used to upset me. Do you know what I mean? It might have been true, and I might have felt that it was true, but it still upset me. But now, bro, it's just barefaced, like the ineptitude, the lack of action, the lack of care. Has been astonishing to see. The fact that they've taken us, the fan base, for granted. They've taken certain players, Harry Kane, Sonny, for granted. Yeah. You know, they've taken certain positions in the league when we've finished high above, like taken that for granted. Every single time that we've been on the precipice to do anything glorious, to move up and be a serious club, we've missed it. We've missed it. And the one time that we tried was, I suppose, Ndombele, and you know, nobody done their homework on Ndombele as a person rather than a player. You know, I really wish that one would have worked out for us. But you know, it's just mistake on mistake on mistake, ineptitude. They don't come out and ever apologize or take accountability for the mistakes that they make. They might try and quote unquote rectify it in the summer, which is always the line, but we never see them do it. We're always we tried FC, and that comes down from the top. We're Spursy, that comes down from the top. That comes down from the top. How many times have you seen a player leave and then we hear an interview? And this is, you could go back to Teddy Sheringham. You know, I saw an interview with Les Ferdinand. You know, there's been players over the years that have come in that have been promised one thing and given absolutely the opposite. When Harry, we know what it was like. You know, we heard Ange the other day talk about he wanted Semenyo, Neto, and Mbeumo, right? Yeah. That was his targets. Well, I remember under Harry Redknapp when we wanted Suarez and I can't, Cahill, and there was one other I can't remember, but we ended up getting it's Louis Saha, didn't we? And Paul Stalteri and there was somebody else. It was a freebie, but it was just the cheaper option, it was the lack of ambitious option. When you look at our side, where I think it's running, I'm gonna say for the last 5 years at least. But we've at least had 2 players in our side that have been on loan, that we've tried to build a side around. Now, some of those players have worked out. Kulusevski, for instance, one of them. I know one of them was on loan, innit? And then we extended the loan and then we bought him, right? Yeah. So some of them have worked out. Some of them have not worked out. Longley, for instance, who was giving hugs and kisses tonight. You know, Timo. Didn't work out, kept him too long, you know. And then you look at this season where Paulinho seems to have worked out and Kolo Muani hasn't at all, really. You know, so you look at this, and this is their squad building, mate. When you look at January, not only did we try and talk the talk, 100 million first off, that was leaked before December, wasn't it? And then going into the January transfer window, they say 150. And then we only spend the 35 million that we earn on Johnson, and 30 million on Sousa, which is going to be about 5 million because we're going to sell Veliz for 8 over in Brazil. So we've spent 4 or 5 million in January. Are you for real? And let's not even talk about the relegation. What about the Champions League? What about strengthening this side for the Champions League to go and win maybe, or to go and progress maybe? You know what I mean? To get something out of this side, it was blatantly obvious that Kulusevski was going to be out for the season. They knew more than we've ever known about that injury. It was blatantly obvious that Maddison was going to be out for the season. They knew the condition of Kudus and that groin injury in January. They brought out a bug statement and a phony statement from Vinay at 2 weeks into that transfer window, saying that they're going to do this, that, and the other, wage bill increase, done nothing. They acted too late with Frank, as we've seen, and then not only did they pull in Tudor, we know that Tudor wasn't even their choice. We know that they couldn't go. Where was their book? Tudor. We all know. Let's not be stupid. We all know that Paratici pulled out Tudor. We all know that. So once Paratici leaves, you're gonna go to Paratici's choice. Where was your book of contacts? Where was your list of managers that could take over and do a job? You panicked. You had no answers in your book. You had nothing to go to, so you went to the last answer that was on the paper, Tudor. And then for no reason whatsoever, no reason for Tottenham reasons. Yes, he might get people out of a situation, but no Tottenham reasons did you hire him. So you did continually, bro. So now I do not believe a thing that board say at all. The first thing that they've got to do is come out and apologize and admit the mistakes that they've made, starting with Pochettino back then. Because if you remember in the documentary what Levy said, and he said, we'll see, innit? And ever since, we've tried to find a manager that can play the Pochettino way, and we've never been able to find it. And we've never been able to do it. So they've been making mistakes forever, bro. And now it's about action. I'm done with your words. You know, if you're still there in the summer, I don't want to hear nothing. I just want to see it. You know, let me see your action. Let me see how much you spend. Let me see how big your ambitions are. Because
100%.
every part of evidence that we can look at as Tottenham fans, mate, shows us that they're not. Shows us that they've always gone for the quote-unquote cheap option, or they've never been ambitious. They've never wanted to take the step forward. Up to the point where Levy said to Ange on final day that, you know what, I've been to 7 semi-finals and finals and we never won one. This is what it Spursy from the top. There's things that need to change massively. So stand up or sell up. That's what I'm saying to you. Stand up or sell up. That's what I've got to with him, bro.
Can I jump in? Something.
Just 2 seconds, Melvyn. What Igor Tudor said to Sky. I feel I'm the right man for the Spurs job, of course, but there are so many problems. It's not easy to explain. These things must be resolved internally. I'm not going to talk about it on the media. That's an interesting quote. Sorry, Melvyn, go for it.
Yeah, I agree with what Ricky said completely. I think over the years, the club recognized that the players we've had sometimes are not good enough. And even the fans will tell them, listen, we need to get rid of this player. We need to upgrade here. We feel he's not good enough. But then we replace them with someone who's worse. And we've done this for the last 4 or 5 years. I look back at the teams we've had under Conte, Jose, and I look at some of those players and I think, I'd love to have Højbjerg back at the moment. And Højbjerg was awful at Spurs. He had good moments, but I'd love to have Højbjerg back. Sanchez is playing in the Champions League and playing well. I'd love to have him back instead of Dragozin. We let him go for pretty much nothing. And we've done so many bad choices over the years. You know, Sessegnon is playing for Fulham now. All of a sudden, his hamstrings are fine. It's like these decisions that the club makes. It's just crazy. We have this as fans. We demand better. We demand more. We demand, to there is to do. But and Ange, I hate to mention it because you guys know how I feel about this. I think I'm still hurt that we've sacked Ange, and this year in my mind, I've watched this season with my head still in Bilbao, somehow still celebrating that the fact that we won a trophy under Ange with this squad. I still don't understand how the club, they said, "Oh, we want attacking football," and then switched within they weren't brave. They had no idea what they were doing when they sacked Ange. We went back. They took us back 10 years, 15 years. The progress we've made under previous managers, let's say Pochettino, the progress we made under Pochettino to attract a Jose or a Conte, who would have never came to Spurs if we didn't have Harry Kane, Heung-min Son. Now, let's say in the summer, somehow we're not able to get Pochettino. Who's going to come to Spurs? Who's going to come to us? Why would they come to us? If you're going to go to a manager, you're going to say, oh, I have him at the club. We have no world-class player to bail us out. No one. We got rid of last season's top scorer in January and replaced him with no one. There's no goals in the team. There's no one that scores goals. Richarlison is the only scorer. And Craig, I understand your frustration with Richarlison, but if we let him go in the summer, we let go of our top goal scorer. This is the thing. We let players go. We say Richarlison is not good enough, clearly not good enough. Who we're going to replace him with? The person, Koulibaly, he's worse. We keep letting players go and replacing them with someone who's worse. Or we don't replace well. We don't recruit well. The only moment we're recruiting well is when we had Paratici. And he brought in Udogi, he brought in, Kulusevski, Bentancur, Sarr. Even Sarr is a good signing. He's still young, but Sarr came in really cheap. It blows my mind how this club can take 2 steps forward and about 50 steps back. It's just...
That's Tottenham.
And this is the thing. Even the fan base at the moment doesn't understand the fight we're in. I saw a tweet by an Everton supporter, and he said, we did everything to stay up. The stadium was packed. I looked at the Crystal Palace game. There were thousands of seats available. If I was Vinay, I would say till the end of the season, if you go to the games, your loyalty points will multiply by 10. We need to fill out the stadium and we need the atmosphere to come back. We need the passion to come back. The only positive thing that I thought in my mind that if we get relegated is next season, the stadium would be filled with the proper Tottenham fans, with the club, with the people that love the club. And I told my wife, I said, if we get relegated, I'll go. I'll go more than I go to the Premier League games.
Yeah,
because
I will.
The proper fans would go to the club,
but it won't be any cheaper.
Yeah, would beer be half price by any chance?
No,
because it should be anyway. I know I went on a bit of
it's ridiculous, but you know what? This is part of it as well. You talk about the millions that they could lose and all of that, and if they sell up, they're gonna get half or whatever. I don't care. They deserve that as well because of their greed. They've milked this club dry.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they've promised us that they're milking it to put back in the team. There is no evidence since we've been in that stadium of them doing that. The amount of time that they've put their hand in their pocket and not spend that same money.
And the one for me was the email they sent out 2 weeks ago saying Tottenham Hotspur are going to freeze season ticket prices this season.
What's a joke? Do you know what
email?
It's very kind of them. Yeah.
But you know what? Melvin's absolutely right. Something like that, so, to give back to the fans of this season for all of the mistakes that they've done. Yeah. Again, taking accountability. Go. All right. Cool. You get 10 times the points, or get it for half price. Like, do something that gives back to those fans because you need them in the stadium right now so that your asset stays at a high value.
Yeah.
Do something. But they won't.
With the tickets. So the story with the tickets are now, obviously, like if you're a season ticket holder. And obviously you don't want to go to the game for whatever reason. It could be you just hate Tottenham, that, we've only won twice in 40 games at home. Or it could be you actually can't make the game, right? You can't sell your ticket on the exchange because your ticket on the exchange will only sell if the game is sold out. But guess what? No home games are sold out this season because we're crap. So people can't sell their
that.
tickets.
Say that again,
Right.
Gaz. Say
So
that
this
again,
is,
bro.
This is what's happened. Season ticket holders are listing their tickets on the exchange, but the tickets are not being sold. They're being listed, but they can't be bought because the tickets can only be bought when that game is sold out, and no games have sold out this season. So what's happening is you have season ticket holders, some who are premium, who are paying 6, 7, 8 grand a year, who are having to go onto groups, whether it be on Facebook, X, or WhatsApp, and say, hello, I have 2 tickets that cost me £300. Would you like them for 100? Because one, they can't even sell their tickets for face value, and 2, they can't even sell the tickets on the exchange because no game has sold out, because that's how crap we are. So the club win no matter what. So you either just don't go to the game and lose all the money, or you sell your ticket for 10, 20 quid. But people don't even want to pay 10, 20 quid at the moment, because what's the point of, I don't know, for example, going to the second leg, you might get 2 tickets for £30. But then you've got your travel, your parking and your food. You're still spending 50, 60, 70 quid to see your team get hammered and lose.
Yeah, shocking. It really is shocking. Oh dear. Well, Spurs' next 8 fixtures: Liverpool, Atlético, Nottingham Forest, Sunderland, Brighton, Wolves, Villa,
Ricky,
and then Leeds.
Sorry.
It's shocking. Look, let's get into the goals. Let's get this done as quickly as we possibly can. Well, 4 minutes we looked reasonable, and then we conceded on 6. Ricky, let's run through these as quickly as we can, because I really don't want to. Everybody knows the result. So, Llorente's first goal for Atlético. What happened here? I can't even remember this goal.
I can't remember either. Whose mistake is this one?
This was Johan Langer's mistake. This was Johan Langer. Yeah. Kinski slips and gives away the possession, didn't he? And then he went to I can't even remember.
I remember. So Kinski slips, but it's his back foot that slips, wasn't it? He went to kick it with his right, but his left foot slid under. And then the Atlético have got it. They're bouncing it around the edge of the box. We're trying to defend it, but they keep finding the gap. Then onto Llorente, edge of the box.
Great finish.
Pretty much pinpoint finish as well. Yeah. So that was calamity number 1.
Right, that's that one done. Right, 10 minutes. Tell had a shot on target. 13 minutes. Richarlison shot wide. 14 minutes. We're 2-0 down. Griezmann scored. Ricky, you can get this one. I'll give you 2 goals. 2 goals.
We should some Benny Hill music with this.
Yeah, we should really. This one for Griezmann. This was Van der Ven that fell over this time.
Yeah.
Do you know what somebody said? Somebody said, and I don't know if this is true, that they overwatered the pitch. All the Atlético players wore longer studs. Yeah. And you'd have thought Conor Gallagher, having played at that club, would know the tactics, but obviously he didn't. Griezmann runs through. What a great finish this was, I have to say. Yeah,
another well worked move, but it was all down to the. I mean, I haven't heard about that pitch that you just said there, that they overwater it and they've got longer studs. But you know what though? I didn't see Conor Gallagher slip once he came on. So maybe he knew and he just didn't say anything. Who knows? But somebody should have said something. Because Van der Ven slips horrifically and just allowing Atlético to have all the space in the world to drive forward and slot it away. It was another calamity goal.
It was.
And an easy one to give away. So that was calamity number 2.
Calamity number 2, indeed. Melvyn, coming round to you for the 3rd goal, and this is how quick it was. It was the next minute. They hadn't even got the banner off the bottom of the screen for the 2nd goal. Kinski, absolute nightmare. Ball played back to him. Tries to play a left foot shot across his own box to, I'm presuming it would have been Porro. Messes it up completely, and Alvarez just nips in.
Yeah, you gotta feel sorry for him. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I've never been in that situation. Obviously, I'm not a goalkeeper. What did your son say, Craig? Isn't he a goalkeeper?
I think he said something like bollocks.
Did he try to defend him, or did he say just?
No, he didn't try and defend him, but he just felt sorry for him because as Joe Hart's come out and Van der Sar, somebody, one of De Gea came out, and said, just, unless you've played in that position, it's the hardest place to play on the pitch. I'll agree with that.
Yeah,
but, it's horrible. It's horrible. And obviously he was taken off. And Melvyn, actually, while we're on this subject, Kinski's going off there. And this freeze frame, you would have seen this. Tudor didn't even acknowledge Kinski as he walked off down the tunnel. And that I don't know the chap's name. I think he's first team manager, the bald-headed guy, looks like a bouncer.
He's always there, isn't he?
He's always there. He followed him down the tunnel. What did you make of that, Melvyn? Do you think, what did you make of the fact that Tudor didn't even go up to him and say, look, sorry, son, unlucky, or something?
I don't know. He probably tried to make himself look, still focused on the game, and maybe he thought, I'll acknowledge this at halftime or in the dressing room. I don't know. Just it's a bad look on him, bad look on the club in general. Gutted for Kinski. When we signed him, we saw highlights of his passing, and there was like stories of how he was played in midfield by his father and all this kind of thing. And I remember his debut, or I think his debut was at Anfield, or his second game was at Anfield.
Second game, was it?
Yeah,
I think?
second.
But he did all right there.
He was all right in the beginning,
Yeah.
and it's just like I said, you can't play him cold like that. You have to give him a run of games. The guy barely touched the ball, and then you put him in this situation. And I think when he was receiving the ball, I think he was, trying to feel confident, look up, and the ball just went over his foot, and he just completely missed it. It's unlucky. I mean, it's happened to me before. Like, I've played a bit of football, but to do it at that level and in that situation, it could happen to anyone. It's just at all levels. So it's just gutted for him. He needs to show a lot of personality and to come back from that. And I hope he gets the opportunity to get it right. And I don't see him playing again this season, or if he does, fair play to him, fair play to the coaches. And I'd love to see him have, a clean sheet soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just staying with you, Melvyn, 22 minutes, Lenormand, if that's how you pronounce his name. Vicario came on by this stage, obviously, made a cracking save from the first one, and then just followed up with a header, a bit of a scramble. Just very quickly, Melvyn, just a bit of a mess again, this one, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I said, the team doesn't know how to defend as a unit. And win the ball back. It's a complete mess. We don't know how to press. We don't know where the player should be standing in a back three. You see Porro, coming in and it gets congested, leaves players out of position, and it's just a mess from top to bottom, and that's what you're seeing there. Champions League teams will expose every little weakness, and Atlético Madrid found them quite quickly.
They certainly did. Gary, 26 minutes. Pedro Porro, gets us back in the game. Gives us a little bit of hope anyway. Good run from the edge of the box and fires in at the far post.
Yeah, good goal. Porro didn't look too bad tonight. He does try a bit. He's a very frustrating player, Porro, isn't he? I find him very frustrating, but I thought he done all right tonight. And, you're thinking to yourself, we've got one back there. Yes, we're going to lose the game, but it's just about trying to manage it, isn't it? And just trying to get a few more goals in, But it's a funny one for me because, we was a shambles and we are a joke. But we did have opportunities, Richarlison, he done a good save. Romero hits the post. There was opportunities for us. I didn't look at that Atlético Madrid team and think they're great, but this has been the story all season, Craig, right? So it doesn't matter what team we play, and we turn around and say they don't look that great. And there's a common factor here. We always go behind, and then we start playing when we're 2 or 3 goals behind, which I think is quite easy because it's a mixture of the team take the gas off foot off the gas a bit, and we're in desperation and trying to sort of get something out of the game. So I think we've just seen it all season. And again, I'm watching a game where I think we could have probably lost it 7 or 8, but at the same time, we probably could have got 3 or 4 goals. But that's where we are. This team is just like completely bipolar.
I was going to say totally bipolar, and leading on from that, it's a really good point, Gary. Actually, because Romero hit the post on 36 minutes, so that could have,
really unlucky.
Could have been two.
I think he was more unlucky than what Richarlison was, because I felt Richarlison should really score from his where the keeper saved. Whereas Romero, I thought it was a very difficult chance, and I thought he'd done very well to get as close to that. And I think if it's the other side of the post, the keeper is beaten as well.
Well, yeah, tight angle. I think he should have headed it back across goal, perhaps.
Possibly,
but
yeah, it might have been a better option. But unlucky, and we know Romero can score a header, so it's a weird one. Do I think we're out? Yes. Would I have thought we're out if we've got one more goal? Possibly not. Maybe it would have been 50-50 for me. But looking at our home record, regardless of who we play, is terrible anyway. But up until tonight, we've actually been pretty good in the Champions League. And that's why I've got a bit of sympathy for Kingsley, because, as bad as Vicario's been this season, and let's not beat around the bush, Vicario's been bad, right? He's been awful at times. And I think a lot of people wanted him out, but for certain games, but just not tonight in a game like that. Now, we could have been having a different conversation if Kingsley don't make a mess of a few goals and we maybe lose the leg 2-1 and he has a fairly decent game. He might have started the next game, but as it is, he did kind of throw him out to the wolves. But unfortunately, it is what it is, and it's not just about Kingsley. It's that whole team and every single player on there. Because, like we said earlier, and I mentioned, Van der Ven should have been off anyway, and that would have been 2 games in a row. So I don't know what he's doing.
Let's come on to that, Gary, because just before the half, Llorente missed a great chance for Atletico, but just before that, on 39 minutes. Was this a red card, Gary?
For me, yeah, it's a red card. And I was actually surprised. I know VAR looked at it, but I was just waiting for them to say to the ref, go over to the screen. And for me, I think probably that was more of a red card than what Romero's one was, if I'm being honest. I thought he was gone. I don't know what you guys thought or any,
Well, if his leg's on the floor, that's a broken leg right there. I know that's easy to look at. Frame.
He does get a bit of the ball, but it's how hard he goes in his aggression. And with the Champions League, the bar's even lower. So I just assumed like he's gone. So as bad as we was tonight, and as many mistakes as we've done, because let's be honest, we kind of gifted Atletico so many goals as opposed to them being really good. But it could have been a lot worse, especially if Van der Ven gets the red, which I personally think he should have got a red, to be honest. And
I do.
And you're looking at the Crystal Palace game, he's pulling the guy back, and you're looking at that where he goes in, studs up, and you just think, what is going on with Van der Ven? Are these deliberate things? I just don't know where I am with him. I can't quite work out where he is. I don't know. Yeah,
absolutely. Second half starts. Conor Gallagher and Solanke come on to replace Tell and Kalamouani. I thought Tell was all right in spells. Kalamouani absolutely useless. 55 minutes, Richarlison should have scored from a cross. And Ricky, coming on to you, literally straight after that chance, as Gary said, Atletico go straight up the other end and nick another goal.
Yeah, it was a great cross, actually, and it was pinpoint onto Richarlison's head. He got enough power on it, he got direction on it, but he also, Jan Oblak found it as well. And it was a quick break by Atletico, and a clever one at that.
What a ball by Griezmann here, though. What a touch.
What a touch to get him going. And then Alvarez is off, innit? And we've seen him, what he does one-on-one for Man City for season in, season out. So once he was in there, it was near on guaranteed that he was going to score, and he ended up putting it away to make it 5-1 at that point. It just shows you how quickly things can turn, for one. But, there was something else that I've noticed about this side, and part of it is a hangover or was happening during Frank's time, but I definitely see it under Tudor's time as well here, is, we're always passing backwards, right? We've done it all season. We're always passing backwards. And I'm always asking why, because we end up putting ourselves under unnecessary pressure, right? But it's because it's the only obvious passing lane. The amount of times, and have a look back at it, gents. The amount of times that we try and do a 1-2 or something on the wing. By that time, there was 3 Atletico Madrid players onto one guy, and then suddenly it's one guy versus 3 Atletico, and there's not one passing lane for the one guy that's got the ball in the beginning. So it ends up going off, or they end up nicking it off of us. How many times did they nick the ball off of us when we had it going that way? But there was never a forward passing lane. And that's why we pass backwards so damn often, because that's the easiest, most safe one, and then we can start again. I also saw so many times where players I don't know whether I'll call it hiding. I don't know whether this is the definition of hiding. I really don't know. But when we did have the ball again, there would be one obvious pass. Yeah. So let's say we're on the left-hand side. There's one obvious pass to say Spence. Then there's one risky pass, right? Which is let's say Sarr for a minute. But on that risky pass, there's 2 Atletico dudes on him. And then there's nothing else. Then there's big gaps, and everyone else is being covered by every other Atletico player. And it ends up falling back into their hands, and they end up having a quick break, and it's easy to slice through us, because once they start slicing, we start panicking. So this is a trait I keep seeing, man. It's like you spoke about Tell there, right? Tell's the only one that had a shot in the first half that I saw anyway. Do you know what I mean? From outside the box. But he's the only one that is willing to run against a defender and do it all on his own almost. But how many times do you see people go with him or give him an open, be in the space that they're supposed to be in, rather than go risky or go blocked? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or obvious. Yeah. I keep seeing it, man. I keep seeing it. And I don't know whether that's a trait,
Craig,
in the boys or Frank
Craig,
or Tudor.
What was the poll? What was the poll in regards to going down and staying up? Did you get an idea?
Oh, God, yeah. I would say about 95% down.
Yeah. So most fans are sort of thinking what I was thinking.
Most people, yeah, sadly.
And I think probably that's got a lot in the last 3 or 4 games. But I think you, me, Craig, and a few others, possibly maybe Ricky, I think we've been thinking it and feeling it for quite a while, right?
For a while, mate. Yeah. The only after 11 games of Frank's reign, the only description I could give of the style of football was relegation football. It was the style of football that we was playing was relegation football, and then we were suddenly into a relegation scrap. And
how the hell are we here? Honestly, well, look, 58 minutes. A player that's not going to be able to play at the next leg back at home is Richarlison, because he was booked on 58 minutes. 68 minutes, Richarlison went off for Paulinho, and Ricky, staying with you for this, our goal in the second half. Solanke on 76 minutes scores for Spurs after an error by Oblak.
Yeah, error by Oblak, and I can't remember which midfielder picked it up, but
Porro.
It was Porro. Yeah, Porro anticipated it, picked it up, got involved, slid it into Solanke, and Solanke does a special Ricky Norwood and hits it top bins ish. Do you know what I mean? Not quite as it's not quite Robo Keeper, but he got it in there and he slashed it and he put it in with power and determination and confidence as well, which was really good to see. There was, like you said, gents, there was opportunities for us to score. There was a bit of I want to say, and this is tough. Don't take it literally, but hear what I'm trying to say. There was a bit of pride in them that after those 3 goals that we gifted them, that we went, all right, and cool. We went for something. We tried for something. Try FC. We tried for something, and we didn't really collapse. Is it easy to slice for us? Yes. Is it easy to count on us? Yes. But we still kept going. And that was down to the boys as well. I don't know whether that was Tudor's influence, because we're speaking about this, this substitution scenario. But there is something in them. Mate, it's tough to see our team team just crumble like this, man, and just oh man, it's devastating.
It certainly is, mate. Well, that was the end of the goals, thankfully. Well, not for Spurs, but certainly for Atletico. 78 minutes, Van de Ven fired over. Spence went off on 83 minutes for Javi. I thought he came into the game far too late, to be honest with you. And as we've covered, Spence walked to the bench, then back to shake Tudor's hand, making a point, perhaps, and then back to the bench. 90+2, clash of heads between Romero and Paulinho just capped the night off. Both went off eventually. Whether that will go down as concussion substitution, I don't think so, because they both went off. But obviously, if they're concussed, they're going to miss Liverpool and probably the return leg next week. So that after tonight's game, we've conceded 14 goals in 4 games. So that's not brilliant, is it? Right, I suppose we better talk about Liverpool. I'm not even going to bother reading you the stats. I think everybody knows we've won at Liverpool 2 times in the last, 30 years. I'm going to guess. I think that's probably about right.
Yeah.
So, as Gary said, don't hold out much hope for this. I'll be brutally honest. At Anfield, it's not a happy hunting ground. It's probably on a par with Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
So the final 2 questions I should mention, actually, Pochettino was there tonight at the guest of Atlético Madrid. And if anybody did see the clip, Pochettino was on a British Airways flight, I think, with a load of fans singing his name. Chris has just said he's 2 in 40 years. 40 years, 2 times in 40 years. Blimey, I didn't realise it was that bad. But Pochettino was on a flight with fans and they were singing his song to him and he turned around and gave it the thumbs up. I would imagine he was there watching Cardoso, the player we was after. Anyway, so I did read, made me laugh on X that somebody said, I hope Poch was getting a beer and a burger for the first 20 minutes and didn't see the goal. Anyway, crazy. Last 2 questions for you. Just start with you, Melvyn. Can we get anything at Anfield? And if you dare, give me a score prediction. What we got to do to get anything out of this game?
So, no Van de Ven, no Romero, and no Paulinho.
Possibly. We don't know.
So he's probably going to play Archie Gray centre back because Archie Gray plays everywhere. I don't know. It's impossible to. I think it's impossible to get a result. Even a draw. I don't want to give it. I don't know. I'll say we'll lose 1-0, 2-0. It's impossible at this point. The manager has to steady the ship. I think we have to accept that even a point in every single game now is important. I think we need to go into games with the mentality that even getting a point out of them will be huge at the end of the season. So if somehow we can get a point at Anfield, that will feel like a victory for me. I think under most managers, I think under Conte we got a draw there once, and they didn't win the league. City won the league. I don't see us getting anything from Anfield.
I remember back in the 90s, I think it was an FA Cup game, Klinsmann and definitely Sheringham scored. I think we beat him in the FA Cup. I might be wrong there, but I'm sure we did. Gary, how do you see this game going? You've kind of already, I know where this is going, but I'll ask you anyway. Can we get anything at Anfield?
No, nothing. We are going to get absolutely humiliated at Anfield. Because Tudor will still be the manager. I do believe that. He shouldn't be, but he will be. And we're going to lose that game minimum 4-1. It's going to be a shocking game. And then I do believe after that game, when we get absolutely hammered and humiliated, he will be sacked. But again, like I said earlier, and I'll keep on saying, it's too late. Because the other teams around us, and let's face it, even Wolves, if Wolves had 6 or 7 more points, they'd be staying up as well because they've been absolutely brilliant, Wolves, So all the teams around us, the players that we have, the only way, right, I was thinking about this today, the only way we could escape relegation would have been in the 90s when we brought Klinsmann over. If we was to fly Harry Kane over and have him from now to the end of the season, that would be the only way we had a chance of staying up. Because I do believe that one man alone could probably get us enough points on the board. But that's certainly not going to happen. And yeah, I mean, we're going to leave with nothing at Anfield. Probably not even our wallets, because they'll be taken and all. So it's just going to be bad, very bad. And that's the reason I'm not going. I went Anfield last season when we lost 4-0 in the return leg of the cup.
Yeah, I was there too.
Say again?
I was there for that game
Oh,
too.
God, yeah, I met you, Melv, didn't I? Yeah. And, you know, it will be the same at Anfield again. We will get pumped at least 4 or 5. Yeah, I will probably score a goal, you know, and we'll probably have the similar conversation of that ball saying, you know, when we went 4 or 5-0 down, we did start to have a bit of fight and play and everything else. And if ifs and buts, and if that one wasn't disallowed and that didn't hit the inside of the post and come back out. But ultimately, it's going to just end the same way. So, sorry, lads, but I can't, you know.
Look, I agree. I agree, Gary. I think it's going to be, I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool. Ricky, I know you've never, ever once come on here and predicted a Tottenham loss. Go with your head, not your heart. What's the score going to be, son?
Craig? you cut. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Sounds like Norman Collier. Yeah, Ricky said 3-0 Liverpool. I think that's...
Yeah.
I said no comment is what I said.
Is that no half time though?
Oh, mate. Honestly, I don't know, mate. I don't know. Just no comment. Do you know what? Look, I'm with you more than anything, Craig, in the sense that if they're going to do it now. We need to start going into games that quote unquote not winnable with half a chance. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But we ain't got none right now. We ain't got none.
Nothing.
And if Tudor's lost the boys and lost the respect already, right, for whatever reason, because it can't just be that tonight. It's got to be a culmination of things that has happened during training and during games, you know. So, you know, make the decision tonight. You got to roll the dice. The thing is that we can all see where it was going with Frank, and we saw a lot of us saw it early. Gooner game, Chelsea game, first time round, we saw it early, and then a lot of us are seeing what we were seeing under Tudor. So you got to roll the dice now. Every decision you've made has been a mistake. Potentially make another one that could potentially get us out of this. That could potentially get these boys going, because they've lost all kind of emblems of togetherness, like brotherhood. Everyone's playing for themselves right now, if they're playing at all. Some are going through motions, some are trying. You got young men leading, you got some leaders not on the pitch. It's all over the place. So this is where you've got to roll the dice and get some Tottenham in there. You need some Tottenham in there. I mean, Ledley King done a great interview today. I say today, I watched it today. Speaking about how he was coaching with Mourinho, and he wasn't hands-on doing sessions, but analysing and having one-to-ones with some of the players in defending and trying to get that message across in an intelligent way in which the boys can kind of, understand, get him involved, get like you said, just get the gang back together that know Tottenham. And I know people have a go at Mason, but he's another one that knows Tottenham and loves Tottenham inside out and wants to play the Tottenham way, in a sense. He hasn't got no more mates there, so he's got to play what he's got. So, I mean, I just want Tottenham back to where it is. I don't trust anybody upstairs that are pretending to be Tottenham. Some of them are still drinking out of Gooner cups upstairs. So, do you know what I mean? Like, so we need some proper Tottenham in there that knows what we're about. And that can get a spark, that can get a bit of a reaction, because we've seen nothing under Tudor so far, and we know which way it's heading. So get it in, get it done now. I don't want to, like Gaz said, after Liverpool, it'd be way too late, way too late, and it puts too much pressure on that Nottingham Forest game. There's already enough pressure on it.
Already enough, yeah. Totally. So come on. Totally. Rick, thanks so much for coming back. Sad to be talking about another defeat. But where can people find you if they want to give you a follow?
You know where you can find me on X at Ricky J Norwood here on Instagram. It's official Ricky Norwood. There ain't no J in that one. And Tea Talking Tottenham episode 10 is out now, so you can go check that out as well. It's me and my brother Darren Hart chatting about all of this madness, just more rants and more jokes, really. And yes, I won't be on for Liverpool, but probably the game after, because I'm running around doing a couple of gigs here, there, and everywhere, so trying to keep busy. But listen, we're in this together, Tottenham. Win, lose, or draw, or going down, whichever which way it is. You know, there ain't no loans for us. There ain't no transfers for us. Through thick or thin, through dark or through light, we'll be here and we'll keep cheering these boys on and hoping for a better day. We all know what needs to happen. We all know whoever's in the stadium, when they're in the stadium, to get behind them, you know, whether that's a home or away. And these fans, they always have done. They always have done. And big claps out to those home and away fans. Do you know what I mean? Amazing what you do and what you've had to go through and what you've had to accept while being charged ridiculous amounts and being treated like commodities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Times will change, gents, but maybe this is the painful rebuild that we had to go through. Who knows?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it seems weird that, you know, nearly 4 years ago, we're doing a podcast celebrating finishing the Champions League positions with a massive win over Norwich on the final day of the season, and now we are where we are. Melvyn, thanks a lot for coming back. I know it's a bit later in Malta. Thanks for staying with us. Where can people find you?
My username is there if you want to follow me, or if you want to follow Spurs Malta as well. It's also written there. Not much.
Thanks, Melvyn. Thanks, mate. And finally, Gary, where can people find you if they want to look you up?
You can find me on Sky One tonight. I was on at 9 o'clock on the Dyers. And I got your good mate. I didn't get the daughter up. I got Danny Dyer himself up and gave him an extra special lap dance, which he loved.
Was that tonight?
Yeah, that was on tonight. But obviously, all of us were watching the game, including me. But I did get a few messages saying, "Is that you on the Dyers?" So I was on that tonight. So tune in to that, people, if you want to have a bit of a laugh, because it's certainly more fun than the game. But yeah, just doing my usual thing, mate. I want to say a big shout out to Matt Swingler, because he's always commenting on the chat. And he goes home and away for Tottenham. He's a member of the H Club. He's paying for most of that stadium to stay open, mate, with the amount he spends. So fair play to him. I don't know if they're going to freeze his prices or what. But yeah, listen, look, we're in a bad place at the moment. It's a dark place. When I think back to, like Craig said and Ricky said, even in 2022, when we absolutely hammered Arsenal, right? And I remember watching all the AFTV lot and then Lee Judges and all them saying, we need to be like that team down the road, you know. And I do believe that things go in cycles. And this is a bad time for us. I do think we're going down to the Championship, but I also do think we will come back up. And maybe this will be the making of us, you know. Sometimes things have to get very, very dark before they get a little bit lighter. And I think that's what's happened. But yeah, other than that, mate, you know, just chatting with you guys. Love coming on the show. I don't think I've been on a winning show in a very long time, but I guess that's for everyone, isn't it?
I haven't, but I've been here all season, mate. I don't remember the last win. Me and Ricky, I can't remember the last one. But yeah, I never quite got that saying. It's always darkest before the dawn. I'm sure that's incorrect. I think that's just some crap somebody's made up to make you feel better about a truly shit situation. But there you go. Look, as I always say, thank you everyone for joining us on another loss. I'm really sorry. It's not us, honestly. We can't control it. I wish we could, but we can't. So thanks for joining us. We'll be back after the Liverpool game on Sunday. Let's fingers crossed we can get something out of that game. And as always, as I say, you know what I'm going to say? Please don't have nightmares. It's only football. Please do sleep well. Come on, you Spurs.